All right, listen. What if I told you the best way for you to become the most influential leader in your business, in your life, in your career, in your family was to read a book that was written in 1930, first published in 1936. You think there's no way any of these lessons from the way business was done in 1936 could apply to today, right? But Dale Carnegie wrote How to Win Friends and Influence People in 1936. And the lessons in this book, when you first read it, they seem so simple, like all great lessons, but they're not easy to apply. And that's what makes them special. I'm so lucky that I got recommended this book by my first business coach. And now I make sure every new coach, every new intern, anybody that comes into the gym, this is required reading. This is step number one. It's the book How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it's crazy to think that it's almost, it's what, almost 90, almost 100 years old, right? And this wisdom still applies today. In fact, it applies even more than ever because in this technologically more advanced world that we're in today, these skills are being drastically underutilized, right? If you think about the most interesting people you know, why do you find them interesting? Why do you enjoy spending time with them? And most of the time, it's not going to be because they tell interesting stories or they always have something cool to talk about. Most of the time, it's because they ask you questions and they listen to your answers. And they're more interested in you and they're more interested in what's going on in your life than they are telling you what's great about their life. And for most of you, you're thinking about these people and you're like, that's the first time I've realized that that's why I like talking to that person. But if you look at the most influential people in 2025 that are on online or in the public sphere, they're podcast hosts right now. I don't care what podcast you're into. A great podcast host is not somebody that has a person sitting in front of them and they just preach to this person. They sit that person in front of them and they ask them questions and they're genuinely interested in their responses. And then they have a conversation which leads you to think that the most influential person is the interviewer. So that just shows you like the best, most influential people in your life, in your sphere, currently in popular culture today, are people that listen. Dale Carnegie says you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in people than you can in 2 years of trying to get people interested in you. So if you just spend the next 2 months being really interested in everybody that you come across, the chances are that you will make more friends, more connections. You will have more opportunities come up from getting to know other people than from trying to show how special you are, than from trying to impress everybody else, get everybody interested in you by showing off, right? Just listening, showing genuine interest in people, and then avoiding any unnecessary criticism will help you connect deeply with people. And from that, your sphere of influence will grow. And that's a timeless skill. And what do you see today is most people, social media, conversation, they talk about themselves. They post pictures of themselves. They talk about everything that they're doing because they think that's how other people are going to be interested in. When you get in a conversation, you haven't finished talking about what you've done, and they're already telling you a story about what they did or how that applies to something that they remembered from their life. If you can flip that, and instead of waiting for your turn to speak and having a question on something that they said or reflecting something back that they made you feel that is important from their story, and you can change your whole relationships with people. And if you run a business, that is the heart of sales, right? If somebody comes to my business and they're telling me this story about how difficult it is, how they struggle to get in the best shape of their life, and they really have these goals and they want to get there. And at the end of that conversation, all I say is, this is my gym membership. I haven't listened at all. But if I can pick something out of what they said and I've understood that I can solve that problem, and I can say that thing that you said, that speaks to me. That's why we've built our business. And I want you to come in and be a part of this because I think I can solve your problem. That's a completely different conversation. Or if I say, it doesn't seem like your goals currently line up with where my business is. So I don't want to steal money from you today. I want you to go and try this first. Or what if I just sent you a nutrition plan for the next couple of months? I don't even need you to work out because I don't think you're ready for that yet. And when you're ready, come on, come back. I'm listening. I've connected with that person. That's a genuine relationship that I'm wanting to establish, and I'm not just trying to make a sale. Now that's how every relationship in your life can be if you stop trying to think that your goal is to impress other people in a conversation. Your goal is to build a deeper connection. And if you just take a beat, take in what people say, and think about it for a second, that's already one step above what most people do. Most people are just waiting for their turn to say something impressive. And by doing that, you're ruining your connections. So think about that in your career. Think about that in your job. Think about that when you're in a meeting today. Think about that when your kids are speaking to you. Whatever it is, your wife, your partner, whatever it is, see how you can apply not waiting for your turn to speak, and see if that helps build connections. And that's just one of 5 ways that I want to let you know how this book can help. So the second way is when you get into a new place, right? The technical skills get you through the door, but most people now don't really have the people skills to keep it going. And the one thing that the book really changed my opinion on was arguing and conflict. And you're going to get an email today. You're going to get one of your kids' teachers come up to you. You're going to get another parent want to tell you something that your kid potentially did to them. You're going to get one of your teammates or your staff members come up to you and approach you with something that instantly could feel like you have to win that fight, right? And if you're competitive, which I'm very competitive, you think your goal is to win. But the way that Dale Carnegie describes it is nobody wins in an argument. So if you are faced with force and you come back with force, nothing good can happen from that situation. So your goal should be to resolve the conflict. And that does not mean that you want to win the fight. You want to build trust with that person. You want to communicate clearly what they've articulated to you. And then you want to find a way forward. And that is the only way you can approach something like this. There might be people that are bringing something to you that they don't want to resolve it. They want a conflict. And now, if you give them a conflict, you're definitely losing that argument, right? So it's a lose-lose situation. If your goal is to win the argument, but they want to argue, you already lose. If the goal is to come to a solution and they don't want one, you're going to lose. So what you have to do is try and figure out how you can remove the force from the situation, how you can try and come up with a solution to resolve it, and then communicate that clearly in a way that you both understand without reacting to the situation. So choosing your response, just like when you're actively listening to somebody, you want to actively listen to what they have to say and then reflect it back. The same way when someone's coming at you with an argument, you won't win the argument. There is no way to win it. So your goal should be to resolve the conflict. And so just thinking about how you can resolve conflicts in your life rather than win the argument. Because Once you take that argument to somebody else and you say, this person did this, and this is what I said back, somebody else is going to tell you, yeah, I would have done the same thing. But that doesn't mean it's right. And it doesn't mean you won. You're just looking for validation that you did the right thing in that situation. And chances are, if you reacted to it, you didn't do the right thing. So, this is all about building deeper relationships. It's all about keeping relationships. If you're constantly fighting with people, that relationship is not going to continue. The next thing is like, how do you lead people and how do you influence that relationship, right? The first two things that we just talked about, actively listening and choosing your response. You've got to actively listen to what somebody's telling you. You've got to know why the people around you are motivated to be in your business, to be in your team, to be a part of your family. Like, what is it that they get from being in this? And what are their goals and what are their aspirations? One of the biggest things that I do when I have new coaches and I have people apply for a job is I want to know their skills, yes, but I want to know what their dreams are. And I want to know what their aspirations for the future are. And I want to know what sets them on fire, what brings them alive, and how I can tie that into what I do. Because I know that if I'm in on that dream with them, then I'm going to get the best version of that person. But if they have to suppress the dream to be a part of my business, if they have to suppress their dream to be in my circle, if my wife and my kids have to not be the people that they want to be around me, then I'm not getting the best version of that person. So I want to appeal to their interests. I want to take them interests and I want to jot them down. Like, how can I use that dream in my business? How can they make my life better? And how can I make their life better? How can I help them achieve that? And how in turn will that help us as a unit be stronger? And now I can make suggestions of how we can apply this into our business, how we can apply this into our life. And I don't have to just be like, you have to be better at being a wife. You have to be better at being a coach. You have to be better at being this because it affects me. It's we all grow if you're better in this area, if we can make this better, if we can improve this. And I believe we can do it. And I think that we can find a way to get there together. And I'm going to encourage you to come up with solutions, and we can come up with solutions together to get there. Not, I'm just going to criticize everything you do. I hate the way you do that. I don't like the way you coach this. I don't like when you blah, blah, blah. I'm already starting a fight, and I'm already losing influence and losing respect and losing trust. I'm a big believer in feedback. I love feedback. In fitness and in sports, a coach giving feedback is the only reason the coach exists. The value of that feedback and the feedback culture can only come from a place of trust. I made this mistake so many times as a new business owner that I would be ready to give someone all this feedback because I love them and I appreciate them and I see how great they can be. They've got all the soft skills that they need, but if they improve, their dream life is right there for them, and I want it for them. So I'm going to go and give them all this feedback and tell them how they can be better. And they're not ready for that feedback because I haven't built trust. So that feedback is just coming across as criticism, and it's just coming across as hate, and it's just coming across as I'm not good enough. You're not, me telling them that they're not good enough or that they suck. But in my mind and in my heart, it's you're amazing. I just think you can be even better. You're really good. I think you can be great. But without the trust and without the connection and without me spending time building that relationship and really getting to know where they want to go and who they are as a person and how they take feedback, I've already lost. And I have made that mistake way too many times to count. And it comes from such a good place. And I know you, if you're a coach or you're a leader in this, you believe that too. And you believe in your team and you love them so much and you want them. When they tell you their goals, you're like, yes, let's go. I'm ready. And then they don't do it and you're on them because you're like, a good coach would be on them. But you got to show them why you're on them. You got to show that you love them. You got to not just speak it. You got to be that person every day that takes the extra time to listen, wants to know about this person, truly wants to know what brings them alive, and lives in that and feeds that and goes out of their way to make sure they're doing extra to show that they've listened and they understand and they appreciate that side of that person. And that's a tough balance to find. But it only comes through all these, what most people would call soft skills, but they're not. They're human skills. The human skills that they cannot be replicated. If you take this book that was written almost 100 years ago and you start implementing it, it will change the way you do everything. The next thing is you're going to make mistakes, right? There's going to be times when you don't listen. There's going to be times when you don't give feedback the right way. There's going to be times when you don't react well to things. You don't choose your response well. And there's a way to fix that. You, as a leader, have a responsibility to see things from other people's perspectives. You can't just want everybody to understand your position, right? I hear business owners all the time saying, I can't find the staff. I can't find people that love it as much as I do. I can't find people that want to grow this thing the way I want to grow it. So I have to do it all myself. And I hear that reflected back to me in business owners all the time. And there's only one way to say it, and that's bullshit. That is the most bullshit thing that I've ever heard. The thing that's happening is you think that everybody should feed your goal. You started this business, you got your way of doing it, and everybody else should fit into your little bubble of how things are done. And at no point do you see someone else's perspective. You don't want to know why they want to do it the different way. You think your way is the best. You started the business. It's got your name on the door, so everybody needs to follow you. Now, that's a big difference from when people just want to complain at you, right? I can't remember what the quote was, but any fool can criticize, condemn, and complain, and most fools do. As a business owner, you don't have to listen to criticism. You don't have to listen to complaints. But if you build in a feedback culture, you got to listen to feedback. And feedback is when somebody genuinely cares about the business. They genuinely want to see it succeed. They genuinely care about you. You got to know them people. When they're coming to you with feedback, you got to be open to that, right? And you've got to try and see from their perspective what is happening and why they want to let you know and why they haven't been doing it the way that you would do it. And try and understand that. And just try. Write it down, spend time with it. Don't reply immediately, book a meeting in a couple of weeks and go through it together. And really think about where that person's coming from and what that means to the business and what it means to you and where their heart is. You're going to have people that come to you and they just want to complain, or customers have been complaining, so now they want to pass on them complaints. That's not feedback. And so the difference is knowing the feedback and how feedback is different from a complaint. And it's two completely different things, right? Feedback is when somebody wants to give you suggestions on how we can make this better and where they see things that are not working to improve it for everybody, right? Then you're going to get complaints, which is me and this group of people don't like this. And that's it. There's no ways to fix it. There's no, we think as a unit, this will help us grow. There's no, oh, we think that the whole company would be better and we can provide a better service for the customers if we do it this way. It's just, we don't like this. And we don't like this, that's not feedback. I don't even listen to we don't like this. I listen to real, true feedback. And that's because I give real and true feedback. I care about each and every person. I care about their goals. I care about where we're going as a unit. I care about how we can get there together. And I care about how we can grow a real community of people that care about each other. And I don't like this is like me showing up and being like, I don't like your hair. That's got nothing to do with me. I don't like your shoes. Nothing to do with me. And what I want you to try and do is think about how you give feedback and then think about when other people are giving you feedback. And also, real leaders never complain. I've never written a 1-star review. I've never had something negative to say to somebody bringing my food or somebody working at a bar. I never get angry at somebody in traffic. I can't say never. If I'm in a bad place, I get angry at people in traffic. And that's how I know that I'm not in a good headspace as a leader. And I want you to think about that for yourself, right? Are there days when you're angry at the world? Are there days when you're angry in traffic, things that you can't control? Are you angry at the way the waitress spoke to you, something that you can't control? You don't know what's happening in that person's life. Are you angry at all kinds of things that you can't control? If you are, that's not their responsibility. That's yours. Other people can't put these things on you. So, what I would say is it's so simple to apply this thing, but it's not easy. You've got to smile. You've got to use people's names. You've got to ask more questions. As Dale Carnegie says, even smile when you're on the phone, people can feel it. Somebody's name is the most beautiful thing they ever hear. So always repeat people's names back to each other. Use people's names as much as possible. So one thing we love to hear is our name. And then ask questions, show genuine interest, and try and find what's going on in somebody else's life. When that waitress treats you like shit, instead of complaining to the manager, did you first go, hey, look at her, look at the name tag, Stacy, Tina, whatever. Hey, how are you today? And if they're still the same, they're still the same. But did you try? And are you trying in the office when someone's like that? Are you trying when your wife is like that? Are you trying when your kids are like that? Or are you, hey, stop acting like that? This is something that we're all battling with every day. I have this book sitting on my shelf just to remind me every day to try and be that better person and try and become that better leader. And it's not about trying to get people to do what you want them to do. It's about building connection. It's about wanting to have a team of people that care about each other and wanting to go further together. That's why I love this book. I don't want to influence you to go somewhere you want to go. I want us all to go somewhere that we all want to go together. I want my customers to come on a journey with me where we can all be there together. I want my family to all be on the same page where we can all go somewhere great together. And it starts with just such small things. Smile more, use names, don't fight, ask questions, be genuinely interested in other people. And it's really not rocket science, right? 1936. This was one of the most successful business owners in America, wrote this book. And what you want from him is spreadsheets and tools and tactics. And what you get is create genuine connections. And spend time getting to know people and get out of your own way and try and find out what's going on in other people's lives and how you can make your team better, make your life better. And it's something that everybody can do. There's no budget for that. You don't need more investors for that. All right. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this, um, let me know what your favorite book is. Let me know if you've read this book. Let me know in the comments what your favorite principle from How to Win Friends and Influence People, or something that I talked about today that stood out that can help you improve your relationships, become a better leader, and improve your business. And if there's any way I can help, reach out to me at antoxley.com. Have a great day.